Hi Vivek sir, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? How are you,
I'm
Shah?
good too. You look well. It's so good to see
But
you.
I'm tired. Very, my eyes are like this. Deep, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So sir, after Tashkent Files, you are here with Kashmir Files. So is this sort of your way of starting a sort of a film franchise where you will deal with such subjects and call it the something files? Is that what you're aiming for?
I won't call it a franchise, but yes, a franchise is for very big stars and people. I get scared hearing that word. The minute you say franchise, I think of Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan, Dawn, and all those films.
Yeah.
It's not a franchise; it's a trilogy.
Okay.
Which when I made the first film, before that I had decided that I'll make a trilogy. And when you'll see the third part also and put them together, you'll realize this is my commentary on independent India's democracy.
Right.
My first film, The Tashkent Files, was based on the theme of right to truth, and this one, Kashmir Files, is based on right to justice. And my next film, The Delhi Files, is based on right to life. If you see our emblem, three lions, you see the fourth one is invisible, but the three you see, I always, as a child, always wondered what do these three lions represent? Why do we have lions, three lions? I mean, they should represent something. And then I thought, what are the three pillars of democracy? And I said the first one is truth. Without knowing truth, a democracy has no meaning. If suppose some injustice, suppose somebody comes and destroys your house, you have right to truth to know who did it. And the second is justice. In democracy, do you get justice? In 70, if somebody comes and captures your house for 70 years, you won't get justice. So right to justice. And the third one is right to life. Today, if you walk out and some people come and the bus you have taken, some people come and burn that bus, is the state capable of protecting you or not? Okay, a girl traveling in a train, somebody gropes her, is the state protecting her dignity or not? So these are the three debatable things about democracy. So therefore, I decided I'll make these three lions come to life and make these three films. It was a conscious decision, which took me a couple of years to crystallize.
Right, right. But you also spoke about the fourth invisible lion. So will we also, be seeing
That's
something
me.
like that?
That's me.
Okay. Okay, all right. So we had recently seen with Vinod Chopra Shikara, which was dealing with Kashmir genocide as well. So would you say that it is the Kashmir Files, it's the same storyline with a different execution, like a different viewpoint? Would you say that?
Just 1 second. Give me a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did
Okay, so you asked me a pointed question on Shikara. If you see, I don't know when Shikara released 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Not even once I have spoken about that film or the team of Shikara which was attacking me when their film was releasing. Not a word. I have never. You can check my entire social media history. I have never spoken about anybody else's films. I am concerned only about my film.
Right.
Yes, sometimes, very rarely, when I see very young actors or some actors or writing which is really good and impresses me, I write about them. When I see nobody is writing about them and their talent or performance is going unnoticed. And that also I do it deliberately. I never interfere in Bollywood's this thing because I am mentally resigned from Bollywood.
Okay.
As far as Shikara is concerned, Shikara, actually initially it was titled Shikara Love Letters from Kashmir.
Right.
It was always a love story.
Right.
Okay, it had nothing to do with Kashmiri exodus or Kashmiri genocide.
Right.
But when I started doing research on Kashmir, and a lot of Kashmiri Pandit community started talking about our research, that we are doing research on Kashmir genocide. And I announced my film, The Kashmir Files, and there was a lot of viral stuff on that. Then these people, just few weeks before the release of the film, they realized that audience is more interested in the genocide and not the love story. Then they changed the name of the film and they said Shikara, the untold story of Exodus or whatever. You can, both the posters are available on internet. You can check them. Their original poster called Love Letters. So they definitely changed their decision. There is all reasons to believe they changed their decisions after the success of Kashmir Files announcement, and they knew where the community is. Now, I had nothing to do. I knew I was making a totally different film. I was not making a love story. So why should I even? There's no competition. और विदु विनोद चोपड़ा और अनुपमा चोपड़ा जी तो राजा है इस इंडस्ट्री के, हम तो रंग हैं, जैसा बच्चन साहब ने एक बार बोला था, मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ उनका डायलॉग। वो बहुत बड़े लोग हैं भाई। मैं देखिए मैं कैसी टी शर्ट्स पहनता हूँ, मैं कैसे रहता हूँ, मेरे पास इतने पैसे ऐसे भी नहीं है। आई एम अ वेरी सिंपल मैन. I am making my own movies because I love making these movies. I have nothing to do with Bollywood stars. I challenge you, will never ever find me and Pallavi in any party. We don't go to trials and premiere, though we are invited by friends. We have no Bollywood friend. We are, just because I make films doesn't mean that I have to follow Bollywood, the rules of Bollywood, Bollywood's game. But when their film was releasing, there was lot of criticism. Actually, a lot of Kashmiri Pandits abused that. One girl cried her heart out on face of Vidhu Vinod Chopra. She said, "We disown your film." Vidhu Vinod Chopra ji in response said, "Ye sab gadhe hain, ye sab gadhe hain." Right? Then he said, "What? Doesn't matter. Gale milo, say sorry and move on." My God, that's where they made the blunder by saying all these kind of things. I didn't say that. And the blunder was, he said कि जिनकी माँ का रेप हुआ है, जिनके पिताओं को काट दिया गया है, all these victims should just go and shake hands and hug them and say I'm sorry and move on. Who's supposed to say I'm sorry? The perpetrator or the victim? And he's giving advice to victims कि तुम लोग sorry बोल दो. So that's why the Kashmiri Hindu community went against him, and everybody in India were against. If they had promoted their films like a love story, nobody would have questioned it. Why would anybody question a love story? Indians are used to seeing third-rate love stories, so they will tolerate it also. Right. But then the people involved in their team, they're unnecessarily, unprovoked, they started writing bad things about me. In fact, one of their writers started saying that I'm a porn filmmaker. I mean, I have not made a pornographic film. Why are you saying that? I mean, why are you calling me? And then they started attacking my wife, who has nothing to do with this stupid politics of Vidhu Vinod Chopra. That's his karma. He has to deal with them. Why should I deal? So they started attacking me. I never uttered a word. Not even once you will find me I ever spoke about it. Right. But this thing attacks continued. Now they have become more because Kashmir Files is coming. But people are not idiots. People see, they understand what is happening. They understood what was happening. And then they started trolling Vidhu Vinod Chopra. They thought I am making it happen. So this is their IQ and understanding about India and their own audience. They thought their audience are idiots and they're dumb. And with their marketing hype, they can promote anything. Second big mistake Shikara team made, that Anupama Chopra, whose only qualification is that she is the wife of a Kashmiri Hindu filmmaker. And therefore, she started Film Companion. She has no background in this field. So somebody brought it to my notice that yesterday, somebody showed me that instead of writing about the Kashmir Files trailer, they are using the Kashmir Files word because it's so viral right now. If you use the Kashmir Files, that keyword, you get a lot of foot traffic, and for SEO, it's very good. So they are using that word, but actually they put up Tashkent Files review, which is 3 years old. And that review also says that Tashkent Files is a third-rate film. Now the film, which ran for 100 days, I challenge anybody, go on the street and say, have you seen Tashkent Files? What do you think about it? He'll start crying. He'll say, I've never seen such honest, truthful film. It's being accepted by IIM Ahmedabad officially in their curriculum. Harvard has accepted it in their as a case study in their curriculum. What else? It won 2 national awards. It was a sleeper hit, made money for the producer, distributor, every single person. You call it a third-rate film, that's your choice. I'm not stopping you, but at least don't use that review to sabotage Kashmir Files. Now that is, I think, very vicious and sinister. That's when I said, I'm alone, I'm on a lone journey, and I'm fighting. If I can create a film like Kashmir Files, I can definitely defend my baby also. And they should also get a message. I'm not the kind who's going to take this lying down. I'll fight for my creation and for 1 million Kashmiri Pandits' pain and suffering.
Right, right. Okay, so you have recently just mentioned that the Kashmir Files has been in the making since a long time. So where would you say most of your time was invested in the movie? Was it pre-production, during the shoot, post-production? Where did most of the time go?
Okay, so it's been almost 4 years we are working on this.
Yes.
So absolutely, the first 2 years, without even knowing whether we'll make a feature film or a web series or documentary, we have no idea. First 2 years in hardcore primary research, which nobody does it in India. Primary research, meeting 700 first generation victims of Kashmir genocide. And then second 6 months or so went into writing and all that. And film was made quickly in 6 months time. But then we also wasted about 6 months due to COVID. We were supposed to release 15th August last year, but then COVID didn't allow us. So that's why it. So 4 years in the making, but all productive and absolute. See, in Bollywood, they believe that the making begins when you start shooting. And we take a lot of research time. So we consider that also in so making. So this film was made over the labor and sacrifice and struggle of 4 years.
Right. 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 Okay. So there is one thing about the trailer that has caught many people's attention, and so I would like to ask you about this. So, there are these public who are obviously the actors. So they are, sort of trying to create a revolution. They are all like all hard, all of their energy is out there. So you need to bring that mindset and that energy on set. So tell me, how did you approach those scenes, and how did you approach and film those scenes, मतलब वो energy बरकरार रखना, and being in that mindset, मतलब helping everyone get into that mindset, and being there. So how did you go about that, those kind of scenes?
Okay, so see, I have developed a very different kind of direction style. I don't do it the way I used to do earlier during Chocolate Gold and all those kind of things. Now, first, I work only with very good seasoned actors. You have to be an amazing actor, then only I work with them. That is precondition. And that should be the precondition for any film which is made. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. So that's what I do. Second thing is, what I do is I create reality on the set itself. So, for example, if there are scenes between Anupam Kher and his grandson, then we would just lock them up in a small, if he's a poor guy, then a small one-room apartment for first 3-4 hours of the day, till lunchtime. We won't do anything. We'll say, we don't even rehearse, just be yourself. And so what happens is the props, the walls, everything around you has to be real. So like students, you said that revolution kind of thing. So first 1 hour, my assistant started working with them. They were doing it. Then I came. Then for half an hour, 45 minutes, I gave a speech, to them as if it's real. And slowly what happens is then they start believing it's some kind of an event is going, and they start relating. And we mix up with them so much. I always take my actors and make them part of the crowd. My actors hate me for that. They really, really, even if they're the best of the actors, no actor likes to be crowded. But what I do is I put them in the real scene wherever they are. And I don't protect them. I don't say, oh, you, this thing. So what happens is first 10, 15, 20 minutes are uncomfortable, but then slowly they become one of them. And which is why you will find such synthesis between everybody, the style of acting and everything. So there is a lot of harmony and kind of a synthesis between actors. Yeah.
Right. So many of the viewers are obviously lauding the trailer for, being realistic and everything. But I came across an interesting comment where, this user believes that your characters should be more grounded per se. So, and this is the same person who believes that, you can go to the level of Leftovers or Mad Men kind of writing. So, so what do you think, that do you agree that your character should be more grounded? What are your thoughts on the comment?
No, what he is right. What he's saying is right. But being grounded doesn't mean that you are like weak person. Okay, being grounded doesn't mean that you have to be very sophisticated or understated.
Right.
Okay, now the thing is, my films are on themes which nobody has told before. So there are already lots of stories and narrative wars are going on. Today, if I have to say, for example, if I have to participate in this, say BJP Congress kind of a narrative, believe you me, if I have to do something, I will be very understated, because that already everybody is interested in listening to that. So there is a lot of interest in that subject and people are talking. But when you make films like the Tashkent Files, now this young generation doesn't know Lal Bahadur Shastri. Who cares about Lal Bahadur Shastri? That's what Bollywood, everybody in Bollywood had told me, distributors, financiers, everybody had told me, stars. Who knows Lal Bahadur Shastri? The youth is not interested because they don't know, you know. So then what you have to do? You have to increase your pitch so that people listen to you, they understand, they hear. So therefore, I have to, as a creative tool, I have to raise the pitch of my characters. And the second thing is my themes are of conflict. Right. All my themes, the Buddha traffic jam was about the Naxal conflict. Tashkent Files was about the government conflict with the system, you know. And this one is about the conflict with the justice. And nobody is interested in these themes. Why anybody should be interested in getting justice to the persecuted community of Kashmir, whether it's Hindu or Muslim or Buddhist or Sikh? Who's interested in that? When a train is burnt with people sleeping, it becomes a news, but nobody is interested in getting them justice. When in a massacre or riot, innocent people are killed, who cares about their justice? We care how they become headlines. You know, so therefore my pitch has to be a little high. And that's why those characters cannot be understated. Right. You know, the minute you make understated story, see what happened, Shikara, he wanted maybe to focus on that, but then he put a lot of grounded people. Falling in love is the most grounding thing, you know, but then people don't care. So that's the reason.
Right. So tell me about picking Anupam Kher. I'm sure he has had some experiences. So did you guys sit together, discuss, and then go about executing the film? What happened there?
Oh yeah. Once we take on a project and the kind of actors I work with, then these actors are so seasoned and responsible that they go to the last mile. They work very hard. Everybody has worked exceptionally hard. And my style is, what I do is, as a director, after writing the script, I never ever brief anybody. Once I have one sitting with the actors, we do one reading, and then I say, now this is you, what can I advise you? I mean, if Pallavi is playing a professor in a university, what can I tell her? I mean, you are an actor, it's your job. So you add value. Now you put the soul, you take this actor wherever you want to. Then they come with their ideas, you know. So I say 99% of the times it's your choice, do whatever you want to do with it. Right? 1% of the times I'll take the call. So all I see as a director is whether, if the train is supposed to go from Delhi to Calcutta, is it on its path or not? It's not being derailed. कि वो Calcutta छोड़ के Bangalore जाने लगी है. Then I have to bring them back, and I say, no, this is where we are going. Right. That's all I do.
Right. So like I mentioned previously, while the viewers are, loving the trailer and being really supportive, are you receiving the same kind of support from the industry? Like, in the sense, are you receiving screens or, offers that you expected from the film? Is that happening?
See, whether Bollywood is supporting or not. First of all, I resigned from Bollywood in 2012. And I said, no, I'm not Bollywood, because Bollywood is a mindset. There's no factory or an office called Bollywood where you go to. I said, I don't want to be part of this system. I have nothing to do with it. Just because I use camera doesn't oblige me to be part of Bollywood. So I just mentally resigned from it. I make films on my term. That's why you'll see in my publicity, I don't fall on the shoulders of my stars. I don't take them. In fact, my biggest problem with the studios is that they expect the stars to go. But if I make a film and if I am not capable of marketing it on my own, then it's not worth making that film if I have to depend on others. That's what I realized. And the second thing is, I don't expect any kind of support from Bollywood. Why should I? I make it for the audience. I seek their support. And some support, some don't support. That is acceptable. But my problem is that when I have nothing to do with you, when I've left you, I don't interfere in your affairs. I don't comment on you. Then why Bollywood big wigs and the real mighty people want to sabotage my film? And that's my only problem with this so-called industry called Bollywood. And when they will attack me, like I told you, then I'm capable of fighting and defending for my project. If I can make Kashmir Files taking all the fatwas and death threats on my head, then I'm surely capable of dealing with these ideological, creative, or intellectual terrorists sitting in their Bandra offices. Yes, I can.